Hi everyone, this is another how-to video. On today's how-to video I am going to be showing you how to clean a bird feeder. Now if you've been watching my videos you know that I quite like the birds, and I have some feeders. Here is one of them which has recently become empty, and as you can see, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, it's quite dirty. Now one of the main reasons it's really important to clean these feeders is because of a parasite which can actually live on the feeders, which kills greenfinches. It stops them from being able to swallow the food, and other than that it's just not very nice. You wouldn't want to eat off the same plate every single day, every single meal, and it never get washed. It's just not very pleasant, so it's good to clean the feeder every so often. Now I've had many types of feeders over the years. I've had fat ones, thin ones, short ones, tall ones, and they all work on a pretty similar principle. You've got the plastic tube, and then you've got the perches which join up in the middle. I'll just bring that closer to the camera so you can see. And they're usually joined in the middle by a bolt or a screw. Having one of these is really helpful. It's a brush for cleaning inside the bird feeders. You can clean inside the bird feeders without one of these. Maybe you have a different type of brush or something, but these are not expensive. Okay, and anywhere that sells bird feeders is going to sell a little brush like this. It just gets inside there, and then you can use this for your feeders and then not use it for any of your other dishes. Or really, do you really want to be using a brush or something that you use for your own dishes on a bird feeder? The top on almost every style of feeder comes off quite easily. Lift that up and that just simply unpops from there. That comes off. The base is generally, in all the different designs of feeders I've had, not all of them but most of them I've had, the base is actually held in by the bottom perches, so this bit here will go into the metal slightly. Okay, the first thing you want to do before you start unscrewing anything is pour any seeds that may be left behind into the bin, or I normally do this outside and just empty it out onto the grass or whatever, but I'm inside for filming. As you can probably see by the window, it is currently night time outside, so I didn't stay outside for too long. So that's what you want to do first of all. Or you could throw your seeds onto, maybe if you have like a bird table or some kind of place where the birds can go, because if you throw all the seeds onto the lawn, they do actually sometimes grow. I've had quite a few bird seeds actually start growing into plants in the past, which isn't ideal if it's on your lawn or somewhere like that, but it's good to know the seeds are healthy. On this particular feeder I need a flathead screwdriver. What I will do, I will actually stick my finger in the other end to stop the bolt from falling off, and then just simply unscrew it. It's a little bit hard to show on the camera, so I'll just unscrew that. And what I'm actually doing, it's hard to see, I'm actually pushing my finger all the way down onto the bolt to stop it from spinning, because on this particular design of feeder the bolt is just loose and it isn't in a little indentation. I've had ones in the past with little hexagon shaped indentations that the bolt sits into, and they are so much easier to take apart and put back together, but this one for some reason doesn't have it. Now on my particular feeder, these are made out of metal. You can get ones that are made of plastic, but if you have a squirrel problem they will just eat straight through that. So my finger is all the way in, holding the bolt still, because and then just unscrew it. It's almost off. Get to about that position, it's about halfway. Another reason I keep my finger on the bolt, it's still on the bolt, that side has come out now, but my finger's still on the bolt holding it in place, because you don't want to lose it, because if I let go it's just going to fall to the bottom of the feeder, which I don't want. Alright, I've got that bit out and I've got the bolt. If you do drop the bolt into the feeder and you try tipping it out, remember you have holes here and here. So if you go to tip it out, either cover up the holes or do it on the side, and then that way you can control the flow of the bolt coming out there, but then you've still got the holes here as well. So, which is why you really don't want to drop the bolt in there. and if you do have to tip it out, do it somewhere where if it does fall somewhere unpredicted, like it comes out in one of the holes, it's not going to fall down a sink or something. Now I'm working at a sink at the moment, and if the bolt goes down the sink, then you are pretty much screwed. I keep calling it a bolt, it's not a bolt, it's a nut. Sorry, nut. Now it just so happens, coincidentally, that this is right next to it. Obviously this is used for washing detergent. I put my nut in there. That's secure. It's not going to fall down the sink. Alright, so I've taken off the top holes here. Now I need to do the same with the ones down below. And I'm going to put my finger on it to stop it spinning. Now even if you do have one where the bolt won't spin because it's a little indentation, I put my finger on there anyway, just to hold it in the little indentation, and so I can control it so it doesn't fall out. No, this screw doesn't want to turn. Now what, I actually did this screw up because I've cleaned this thing, so I've taken this apart several times. There we go. I also have various different types of feeders as well. I've got some wire ones for the peanuts, and I've also got a metal one with lots of little holes in it for the Niger seeds, or Niger. I'm never sure if it's Niger or Niger seeds. Anyway, it's them. I've got a wire one for the syrup balls. And cleaning them, although they're like maybe different shapes and sizes, they all work on a similar principle. You know, you need to get inside them, clean them out. Don't lose the bolts or screws or nuts or whatever they are. Okay, with that one, the nut, I did drop the nut inside, but that's okay. There's no seeds in here. I can quite safely tip that out. So even if I try and cover up all the holes, ooh, even then I tried to cover up all the holes and I still dropped it down the sink. It just missed the plug hole, so that would have been a disaster. What I could have done was put a plug into there, then there would have been no risk of it going down. Good tip, do that. I've got the bottom bit off. This bit should just slide off. Might have to give it a bit of a twist. You'll get a lot of dirt. You'll get a lot of dirt around the base here, so be careful of that. This one's not too bad because it wasn't that long ago I cleaned it. If you haven't cleaned it in a while, I mean, you can have some stuff around there and you'll be like, what the hell is this shit? So the first thing I'm going to do is just rinse it out. I've taken the plug out of the sink now, so it's kind of pointless me putting it in. I should have really put it in first. Right, first thing I'm going to do is literally just rinse it. No cleaning products or anything on here, it's just rinsing it. I have done this outside of a hose pipe, but again, look at the window, it's night time. Right, simply by rinsing it actually looks an awful lot better now, but I'm going to give it a spray with some antibacterial spray. You can buy specialist products for cleaning bird feeders, and I've never actually used them. I've always just used regular antibacterial spray. And the reason is I always rinse them out so thoroughly afterwards there's going to be no trace of the products on the feeder afterwards. So I'm not really that fussed. I mean, I've had very successful feeders. I've had birds returning time after time after time after time on my feeders. They've obviously not dying, they're flourishing, they're doing well. So just make sure you rinse out all the products anyway. Even if I was to use specialist product designed for bird feeders, I would rinse it out just the same. I'd make sure there's none of that product left on there. Just rinse it out of water so there's nothing left on there, whatever you use. And so I've never had any problems. Spraying the inside, because that's where the food goes, and I'm spraying around the parts where the birds feed from as well. This is where this comes in handy. Once I'm satisfied that is as clean as I can make it, I will now rinse it out to make sure there's not a single molecule atom of the cleaner on there, so it is as rinsed and as fresh as I can possibly make it. Sometimes it is a little awkward in the sink, so I do this outside sometimes with a hose pipe, but this is warm water and it's cold outside. Now it needs to dry. I'm not going to let it drip dry, I'm actually going to use some paper towel on it. This is to remove any dirt that I missed with the scrubbing brush, and also to remove any more essence of cleaner. So I know that anything on there that's slightly damp or dirty or whatever will get absorbed by the paper towel. And also just remove the dirt. I can then just bin anything that's left on there. I can just get on their bin, I put it in. I like to, as I push it through, do a twirling action. Now obviously that's as far as I can go with this one. I have had fatter ones I can stick my arm all the way through. That's not going to happen on this one. So I'm going to need to use this. Just pop it down there. You may notice I'm using the handle end. That's because, the reason I'm using the handle end is because the brush end is what I used earlier. There may be some trace residue of the spray cleaner on there, or maybe some residue of dirt or whatever, and I'm trying to remove all that, so which is why I use the handle. Although you could say, why don't you just rinse out the brush first? Well, yes, I could. There's a few marks on there, but that's where the plastic has been scratched. Then that is one clean tube, but obviously that's not the whole feeder. Still got the base. All the food is going to sit on this base, so I'm going to give that a spray as well. Also going to need to clean these bits. This is where the birds actually feed from, so it's quite important to get these clean because there's a bit of dirt stuck in that one. And I'm going to just blast these with water first. On these particular ones, these screws are really reluctant to actually come out of here. They don't really come out. They will eventually if I force it, but I'm not going to because it's easier for me to keep track of where the screws are. However, I have had feeders in the past where the screws come out quite easily. So again, if you had ones where screws come out, I'd simply just put them with the nuts, keep them all safe. Here are my perches. They've been rinsed at this point. Obviously you want to put them onto a clean surface, otherwise it would be a bit pointless. I'm just going to, again, I'm going to spray these, get these clean as well. And again, I'm drying them off, making sure I'm removing any excess dirt that maybe I didn't get with the wiping with my fingers, because I was essentially just cleaning them with my fingers really. You don't need anything else. So what I'm doing now is just drying these up. I've cleaned them with my fingers when I was rinsing them really, and then the anti-bac spray was just an extra to, obviously I can't see the bacteria with my fingers. That's not really brilliant at removing that, so that's got rid of that. Rinsed again, so they've been rinsed, cleaned, sprayed, rinsed, dried. So I know there's no germs on here, there's no parasites on here to kill greenfinches, because that is a big problem in the UK with people with best intentions leaving their bird feeders out, just topping them up, never cleaning them out, and the poor old greenfinches all die. Then I'm going to do the same, exactly the same on this bit. Rinse it, clean it, spray it, rinse it, dry it, all nice and shiny. Now need to put everything back together. So get your tube, get the base. It will only go in if you try to put it in the wrong end. It's not really going to work. You've got nothing to hold it onto. Has to go in this end. You'll notice holes there and there will line up with the holes here, so you want that. Those holes need to line up, and then You get this, and then you'll notice a little bit sticking out there. That basically goes into there, and then that lines up. So this goes through the hole. So this bit goes through the hole in the plastic, through the hole in the metal, holds it in place. That one doesn't have a screw, so now I want one that has a screw. Like so. The base isn't going anywhere, but I need to put the nut on. Now if you have a feeder which the nut can sit into a little recess, then that makes it a hell of a lot easier, because you can just put it into the recess, put the screw through, hold it in position with your finger, do up the screw with a screwdriver, and it's easy. This one unfortunately doesn't have that. It's a bit of a stupid design, so you have, it's a little bit fiddly, to be honest. What I will actually do before the screw gets inserted through, I'm just going to rest. It's really difficult to show you this on camera. I'm going to rest that there like so, so it's below the hole. Raise it up with my finger so it's in line with the hole. I can't really show it onto you on the camera. And then, I don't know if you can just make that out. I put the screw through like so. And then do it up. I'm not too fussed about that spinning just yet. I just want to make sure the screw lines up with the nut. Okay, I've got it. Right, it can just about make it out. The screw is now through the nut. Now I can just line this back up and do it up. It's a silly design. When I first got this feeder, I was thinking that is such a silly design. It makes it so difficult to clean. My old one was so much better. My old one got really old and kind of fell apart. The plastic broke. After a while, you can just take your finger out and then the nut will go up. There you go. Got that one in there. The one with the screw. Here's my nut. I've simply placed it on there. It's below the hole now. I'm just going to push it up with my finger so it's lined up, and I just hold it there. So you see that? Hold it in line. And then don't worry too much about the perch being lined up yet. You just want to get that screw in there. Once the screw is through, you can just see that there, then you can worry about getting this lined up correctly and in there like that. But your first priority is get that screw through the nut. That's what you want to get. If you're thinking of buying this type of feeder, check the design. Don't just look on the outside and the fancy packaging. Actually have a look inside and see, is that nut on a flat surface, or is it in a little recess where it can sit, be nice and stable? Because if it's in a little recess, it makes taking it apart and putting it back together so much easier. It's not something I thought about when I bought this one, because my other ones had it like that and I just kind of assumed that's how they were, wrongly assumed. And when I got this one, I was like, oh, that makes it a lot more difficult unnecessarily. I'm thinking, this is actually by the same company as well, so I'm thinking, well, they had a good design that works. Why did they go away from a design that works and is helpful to this one, which is just silly? Then eventually it will look like this. That's on there, that's down there. Just need to stick the top back on. If that's down there, then they're going to be close together, so you want to raise the lid up as high as it will go and they will spring apart. Then simply pop them in like that. You can actually see that's actually too far apart. Lower it down. Secure. Ready for filling. Okay, I'd just like to say thank you for everyone that's been subscribing to my channel lately. It is greatly appreciated. You are completely great. And check out my other how-to videos, my other stuff. I've got other things on here, karate videos, and I've got film review videos, or me just talking randomly at the camera, whatever the hell I feel like. And if you like this, please subscribe. I will think you're amazing. Thumbs up. I'd now like to end my video with my feeder filled up with seeds, hanging on the stand with lots of birds feeding off it. Unfortunately, you can't tell a wild bird when to go to the feeder, unless I stick my camera on it for hours at a time just to get an ending shot of about 5 seconds. It's not worth it. So instead, I'm just going to show it to you hanging up without the birds, unless one comes while I'm filming it, which would be great, but unlikely. Alright, bye.